y'all, my name is Nat. I hope you're having a terrific day today, and for this video I am going to be doing my February TBR. So as I mentioned in my 2021 reading goals, I am going to attempt to actually make TBRs this year. I realized that planning out my reading is a lot easier if I would do this, and it kind of helps with video planning as well, so here we are. I do have one secret TBR planned for the month, and I'm not going to specifically say which books are a part of it, but if you do see a theme, give me a shout in the comments down below and guess what you think this month's secret TBR is going to be. First, let's go over the 5 reading goals I set for myself every month, and that first book is going to be something that is non-fiction, and for that I'm going to be reading Little Shoes, The Sensational Depression-Era Murders That Became My Family's Secret by Pamela Everett. Apologies, I'm reading that long subtitle off of my iPad. This is actually the pick for my Murder Readers Book Club, which is a true crime book club I'm a part of, and I'm pretty excited about this one. I believe it is following Pamela as she starts to unearth her family's connection with this triple homicide that occurred in like 1930s California. I think it's going to be really interesting because Pamela has an actual personal connection to the case. My next goal for the month is to read a backlisted book, and for that I am going with Ruin and Rising by Leigh Bardugo. This is the 3rd book in the Shadow and Bone trilogy and is a part of the Grishaverse read-along. I will put a link to all of that stuff down below if you are interested in joining. Next up is my diverse read of the month, and that is going to be Loathe at First Sight by Suzanne Park. I believe this is a enemies to lovers romance following this woman who works at a video game company and has to deal with the fact that her boss's son gets put on her team for her new passion project, and she just expects he isn't actually going to be able to do anything because he purely got the job since his dad is the boss. My next goal is to read an adult book, and for this one I am going with The Devil in the Dark Water by Stuart Turton, and this is actually this month's Page Turner Book Club's read. I believe this story is supposed to be like a Sherlock Holmes situation, but on a ship with pirates? And honestly, that's all I know and that's all I want to know. I don't want to go into this with anything else. On the opposite side, one of my other goals is to read a YA book for the month, and it is going to be Scythe by Neil Shusterman. This is the first book for the Scythe read-along. I'll put that information down below if you're interested. I believe Scythe is a dystopian utopia story where death has essentially been eradicated, but in order to control population, there are now these scythes. Finally, my 5th goal of the month is to read a new release, and for that I am going to be doing Among the Beasts and Briars by Ashley Porton. This is also my personal book club's read. I believe this is a fantasy story in which this girl was a child when her mother was killed by the woods that surround their kingdom, and when a new queen is crowned, the monsters and magic within the woods starts to attack the kingdom. Somehow she is connected to the magic within the woods, however, and only she can be the one to save the kingdom. Intrigued to see more about this one. I really don't know where to go with this, if I'm being completely honest. Okay, now that we have hit all of my goals, let's just go over some of the books I am planning to read, also for read-alongs and book clubs, because Lord knows I'm a part of so many of them. Next on the Grishaverse read-along, after Ruin and Rising, we are going to be starting with Six of Crows, and this is the first in the Six of Crows duology that is also set within the Grishaverse. I've heard tons of good things about this one. I've been recommended it a whole lot, and I'm finally gonna read it. I'm finally gonna do it, y'all. Along with that, as part of the Sugar and Spice book club, I am planning to read the 2nd book in the Bromance book club series. I think it's called The Undercover Bromance. I'm still in the process of reading the first one, and I'm loving this, so you know I'm going to pick up the 2nd book. On top of that, I am also going to be doing a buddy read of The Cousins by Karen M. McManus with Lana from Lana X Libris and Kim from Kimberly Reads. I'll put links to those 2 ladies down below. This is the newest Karen M. McManus book and is following a group of cousins who are going to meet their grandmother for the first time after their grandmother had cut all of their parents out of her will, and the parents are hoping that the cousins can get back in the grandmother's good graces. If you haven't heard, I love Karen M. McManus. Her mysteries always have a surprising twist at the end for me, and I'm really hoping that this holds up to her previous work. This next one is not a guarantee, but I would love to pick it up if I can, and that is Red, White, and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston. This would be a reread for me, and I believe the Bi Book Club is doing a Valentine's Day special discussing this book. I loved it the first time around, and you know I will definitely go in for a reread. It's just a matter of if I can make time for it or not. I'm really hoping I can, however. Next Next, I am also planning to read Once and Future by Amy Rose Capetta. I believe this is a sci-fi futuristic retelling of the Arthurian legend with some LGBT plus themes in it. Next up, I'm also planning to read Conventionally Yours by Annabeth Albert, and this is a fandom story following two boys who absolutely hate each other and ends up getting put into a cross-country road trip to go to this year's biggest nerd convention. I don't know if it's comic books or like a con, or I don't know what the specific convention is, but as a nerd myself, I am there. I'm so there. Next up, I'm also planning to read The Hating Game by Sally Thorne, and I believe this is a enemies to lovers story following these two advertising assistants who end up having to work together once both of their companies merge. I really trust the reviews I've heard from all people who say they hate and love this story, so I'm so curious on which camp I'm gonna fall into. Finally, I'm gonna be reading Beach Read by Emily Henry, and I believe this story is following two writers. One specializes in romance and the other specializes in literary fiction, and they decide to switch writing jobs for the summer and kind of make a bet to see who can sell the most of that story after the summer ends. I've heard pretty great things about this and that it actually dives into a lot more than just romance, so I'm very intrigued to see how I like that. Given that I am a mood reader, as always, this is subject to change. Who knows if it will or not. There's also the possibility I might toss in another few book club reads in here. At the time I am filming this, I am not actually sure of all of the reads for February for every book club that I sometimes take part in. So I might add another or two books. Who knows? I already have a lot on my plate. We'll find out. Tell me in the comments down below, guys, what are some books you are planning to read? Have you read any of these and how did you like them? As always, thank you so much for coming to my channel today, guys. I really appreciate it. Make sure to hit like and subscribe down below. I come out with videos on Monday and Friday, but until then, I hope you continue to have a terrific day. Bye.